Hello and welcome to the Review of Champions. It's time to talk about She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Episode 5. Mean, green and straightforward into these jeans. Whew. I'm glad I got that out. With me is Taylor. That's all. Before we start, I would like to ask you all to hit that like and subscribe button and maybe join our forum on sakar.freeforums.net. It's the nice little community full of nice fans. And we would love it if you sign up and join the conversation. And if you want, you can be on the show as well. As you can see, we need people. So sign up and join us. We're going to talk spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, go check it out first and then come back to the video. Well, Taylor, how are you doing today?
Good.
Yeah, me too. Let's talk She-Hulk. There was some discussion on the board this week about this week's episode. And some people are thinking this show is taking a turn for the worse. Do you agree?
I'm really mixed on that question because there were some good things in this episode. They did some character development in this episode. You know, they introduced, the other characters in the second episode, really, but they didn't do anything with them. I'm talking about the boss, Nikki, the pug, the other lawyer, Booker, I think her name is. They were all introduced early on, and then nothing was done with them. And if they want the show to be a sitcom, every great sitcom has an ensemble cast of colorful characters. It's not just one person. There's always a group, whether it's coworkers or a family or friends, title of a sitcom. It's always a group of interacting, bouncing off of each other with unique personalities. They haven't been doing that in this show, even though I've been saying it's a sitcom. So in this episode, they did give those other characters a little bit of time, and they actually had that little side story with Pug and Nikki trying to track down the person to make the clothes for She-Hulk, which was that B story was, felt very much like a sitcom story. So the A story in the courtroom, the court battle, again, that felt a lot like Ally McBeal with the interpersonal relationships, the relationships with the lawyer, the bringing in her love life into the courtroom. That felt, very reminiscent of Ally McBeal, which isn't a traditional sitcom. It's mostly comedy, but it's kind of a dramedy, and it was an hour-long format. So it wasn't your traditional sitcom. So the A story felt kind of Ally McBeal-ish, and the B story with Nikki and Pug felt kind of more like a traditional sitcom. The problem is, WandaVision, for example, they told the writers in WandaVision, write a sitcom from 1962, and they wrote a sitcom from 1962 that would have lasted from like 62 to 67. These writers were told to write a sitcom, and they wrote a sitcom that would probably be canceled mid-season of its first year. Right? It just wasn't that good. Now there were some funny moments and some funny lines, and some of it was kind of subtle. If you watch it a couple times, some of the humor hits a little bit better, I think, on a second watch. So again, I thought those were good things. You got a little more interaction with the boss, who's another character that they've been underutilizing. You had Pug and Nikki. Got to know the other lawyer a little bit more. They're bringing in the clothes. Now, the lawyer said, get some clothes so you don't look like a football player fighting a DUI or something like that. And they went out, and Nikki was already starting on that, but it wasn't even finished by the end of the trial. She never did get the clothes that her lawyer wanted her to be wearing. Mm-hmm. So that seemed a little bit off. And now the big cliffhanger for this week is we're going to see her clothes next week. I want to see her get some clothes too. It seems like, remember we talked. Yeah, exactly. well, yeah, really, because we already knew the other guy was gonna show up.
Yeah, okay.
We already know that Daredevil's gonna be in the show. But remember we talked last week about how She-Hulk, Jennifer needs to embrace She-Hulk and accept the fame and the glamour and use it to her advantage, the way the character does in the comics. And it seems like they're building up to that, but I'm sorry, they should have taken care of that in the first two, maybe three episodes. You know, the whole to build up to her wanting to be She-Hulk and accepting the name She-Hulk. I mean, her clothes and her name has been 90% of the topics of the season so far.
Yeah.
You know, I think they can do more than that. I kind of thought this show was going to be like a different, obscure, deep cut character from the comics would need a lawyer every week, you know, and would be that kind of zany stuff, and her occasionally stopping a crime by throwing a car down the street or something like that. But it just seems to be really not focused and very slowly moving, with some humor and some good, action in between. But it just doesn't seem to be hitting the mark yet to me.
Yeah. It's like I said earlier, before we started recording, they're trying to do a little bit of everything, and everything not enough. It's trying to be a sitcom. It's not quite a sitcom. They're trying to be a lawyer show like Ally McBeal. It's not really quite like Ally McBeal or a law show. It's, you could say it's a superhero show, but it's not really a superhero show. I mean, the heroine in question is reluctant and not really embracing her inner Hulk, if you know what I mean. It's just not hitting the mark on all those things, and that's why it feels a little bit off to me. And yeah. Maybe it's because I'm a man and I don't get the humor that was brought in by the writers. I mean, maybe I'm not. My senses are not aligned with that kind of humor. But to me, it's also not funny. I mean, yeah, like you said, there are some funny jokes, and sometimes it is quite subtle, and I catch on to that. But overall, to me, it feels a little bit flat. Not much is happening, and yeah, I just compare it to the other female-centered superhero show Marvel gave us a few months ago, and that show, despite its flaws, did what it set out to do, and this show just doesn't. And and it's not the actress. I mean, Tatiana Maslany is doing a great job, and I don't care so much about the CGI. I understand it's a TV show, and the pressure that is on the VFX companies, and the time pressure they have to produce, and that it's not always perfect. I can live with it. I don't need perfection. But I do need a better writing, and I do need some sense of where we're going. I mean, next week is episode 6. The Daredevil is going to probably show up. It was teased in this episode. It was teased in the trailer. Charlie Cox said he was in one episode only, so that's probably going to be next week. And then we still don't know where is this show going? What is going to be the finale? I mean, at least in Ms. Marvel, she's going to fight the Jinns in the end, or there's going to be a big showdown with Kamran. In Moon Knight, Mark Spector is going to battle for Khonshu against. Now I forgot the name of the other god, but you know what I mean. That you know what's coming, but with this, it just nothing happens. At least not in an overall story arc. I don't need an overall story arc if you make it like a sitcom, and then you have an episode of the week every week. But there is something that muddles through. I don't know the correct English word, but there is something going on that goes from week to week to week, but there's not building up a real storyline. Something is there from that last week, and then they next week there's something other thing that is coming back from another episode. But it's not like there's a overarching storyline that is building up to something. So to me, the show is not really satisfying as a TV show. As a Marvel fan, I'm used to storytelling, and the overall critique is there's a Marvel formula though. You cannot put a formula on this one. It's all over the place. If even Einstein couldn't make heads or tails of this. So no, yeah, and I'm not saying it's a bad show, well, not by any means, because every episode I enjoy,
Mhm.
but as a whole, yeah, it feels like they they are trying to make a normal TV show for Marvel is like a puzzle. You put one piece together, and then at a certain moment, everything connects and clicks, and you see what the grander picture. Now it seems like they grab pieces from 4 or 5 different puzzles, and it just doesn't fit, at least to me. And I'm actually a little bit disappointed in the show, and it's my second disappointment in a row because I wasn't. I also didn't hate Thor: Love and Thunder, but I also wasn't the biggest fan. So it's is the MCU on the decline for me? Maybe.
Well, I agree with pretty much everything you said about She-Hulk. As far as the CGI goes, I don't really care about that. But the only little thing I've noticed, and it doesn't bother me, is sometimes when she moves, it kind of looks like a video game character, if you know what I mean. But it's very minor, and that doesn't affect me because they the special effects are the special effects that they have. It's the story can overcome any shortcomings in special effects. I agree with you that the show's not focused, and I'm not sure it knows what it wants to be. I mean, Marvel has done non-formula stuff before. They've done a lot of different things, but everything that they did was focused, like you said. It all came together. It was very structured and pieced together. Whereas this one is not. I mean, the show's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and she's supposed to be the head of the superpower law division, but we haven't really seen any of that. I mean, she was the the plaintiff in this last case. She wasn't the lawyer. She was a witness in another case. She did Blonsky's parole hearing. Okay, she won the Wong case, but she won that by threatening the guy with a demon, not by winning in the courtroom. So where's the law stuff, and where's her being the head of the superhero or superpower law division, whatever they're calling it, having meetings with the rest of her team and and coming up with strategy for cases and stuff. I'm not seeing any of that. Again, the sitcom stuff is very sporadic. Parts of it will feel like a sitcom, and other parts will not. And they throw stuff out there. Wrecking Crew showed up. I assume we're going to get some kind of closure or some kind of more from them or their storyline sometime. But I guess we have to get through the Titania stuff first, or like you said, it's just kind of all over the place.
The things I enjoyed this episode. Let's break it down. Yeah, because I don't want to trash anything, and also especially not when it comes from Marvel Studios. So I like the whole sequence. Well, like you said, with Nikki and Puck going out to the cafe, which is actually a front for a designer for superhero clothing. I like that. I mean, I like the fact that they first had to buy Avengers T-shirts and merch before they even got to the designer. The contrast couldn't be bigger. That was really funny to me. Yeah, but if I'm honest, that was it. Yeah, I mean. I really couldn't care less about the trademark case, and I thought it was a little bit funny that she had to bring up all those dates to win the case. That had a funny feel to it, and I understand her embarrassment and stuff like that, but. Yeah, basically, and I think she wants a little bit too much to be the friend of Miss Brooke, or lawyer Brooke, and she that also was funny to me. That the moment she said, "We are friends," I'm so happy we're friends now, and then she realized we're not friends at all, and and then, but it, to me, that's a little bit too little to really say, yeah, this is great, fantastic, Marvel Studios,
Right.
great, did it again. No, sorry, this show is not up
Yeah.
to the standard that I
Yeah.
expect from Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
And
And I agree with you. I liked the story with Nikki and Pug tracking down the fashion guy and then having to buy all this junk Avengers and Avengers stuff. I like that, and I like the stuff you're talking about in the court case. I mostly like the court case story. I thought there was some weird stuff there though with the guy that she ended up actually going on the date with and going home with last episode. He gets up there and he testifies that you really like She-Hulk, but I don't like Jennifer Walters. And then at the end when he's walking out, she turns towards him and gives him a smile. Well, he said, "I hate half of you, but like the other half," and
yeah,
she's okay with that. I
yeah,
don't understand why. The guy seems kind of shallow to me.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I also
And
thought
I
it
don't
was,
know why they don't do more. I don't know why they don't do more with her being She-Hulk. Like, how about she's new to this? How about she doesn't know her own strength sometime? If you want some sight gags or something, she stands up and says, "Thank you, Judge," and breaks the table as she stands up, or breaks the keyboard on her computer or something.
yeah,
And
no, she broke the stapler.
yeah, because she was mad. She crushed the stapler. Why didn't?
Yeah, but
But more
that,
accidental.
that's my main critique. We don't get enough She-Hulk, and I don't know if that's because Jen is not embracing her inner Hulk, um,
Right.
and that could very well be. What I also found was weird was the moment they step out of the courtroom and she invites Brooke for a drink, and then Brooke agrees to it. That she makes like a yes, like she said, like they're
Right.
going on a date or something like that. Did it meant I really got a lesbian vibe if you know what I mean, and I thought it
Well,
was weird.
the fourth wall breaking. I have no problem with fourth wall breaking, but what's its purpose in this show? Because some people use fourth wall breaking for humor. Some use it to give the audience information and insight. You can do it like Malcolm in the Middle. You can do it like Modern Family. You can do it like Deadpool. But they're just doing it, and it's not. It's fine, but it's not like
You can
it's the
also
hilarious jokes every time or giving us any specific information.
I think to me the best fourth wall break in history of cinema is the one in I believe it's the Fellowship of the Ring, or was it The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey? One of those movies where Gandalf all of a sudden takes the camera and gives a speech. They do it very subtle. It's like he's talking
Yeah,
to Elrond or something, but in effect he's talking in the camera, and in
right.
breaking the fourth wall. That kind of stuff I like Jen talking to me. I don't need it. I can see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would be fine, like I said, if it was funny, like it was a real funny joke every time she did it, but there hasn't been, or if it was telling us like her thoughts or some insight into what she's thinking or
Yeah.
what's going on. But so far, it's just been kind of random. And the other thing I noticed, watching the end credit scenes every time, you see all those great, cool sketches that they show during the end credit scenes. I'm like, why aren't those scenes in the show? Why aren't we seeing that stuff happening? Because those are
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. This week there wasn't a mid credit scene, by the way.
No, there was not.
So.
But we did get that. Did get that Daredevil hat at the end. So I guess
Yeah.
that was supposed to be our tag.
Yeah. But didn't really mean anything. I mean, we already knew Daredevil was coming because he was in the trailer.
Exactly.
So if they hadn't spoiled that, then I think everybody their minds would have been blown, right, and everybody would be raving about this episode. And now it's like, yeah, we know it's coming.
That's all everyone would be talking about. If they had not spoiled it earlier, and if they had shown us at least one outfit besides that god awful suit that she's been wearing the whole time. If they just shown us one new outfit and the Daredevil helmet, that's all anybody would be talking about. No one would be going back and saying it was pretty boring episode.
Yeah, and yeah. I really, really hope that the last 4 episodes are really picking up steam, because this show needs it. Because otherwise, yeah, Phase 4 is going out like a night candle, with only Wakanda Forever coming up. And yeah, we all have our doubts about that movie, logically. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It really needs to
be. I actually went to the theater today, and I saw the trailer, and it wasn't until then that I actually noticed when the title comes up, it's Wakanda Forever, great big words, little tiny letters at the top, Black Panther.
Yeah.
It's like, is this even a Black Panther movie, or is this a movie about Wakanda?
I think the latter. Yeah.
And that, that's fine. It may be probably still going to be great, but is it a sequel to Black Panther?
I don't know. It's not really fair judge harshly, because Marvel Studios has been given a situation where they cannot win, basically. Whatever they're gonna do, the fandom is gonna cry. So yeah, okay. Well, before we do a deep dive into Wakanda Forever, I'm not in the mood for that right now. Let's just do a rating for this week's episode. I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna give the episode an 8 out of 10, because they did actually do some stuff that they haven't been doing yet, and that is a little bit more humor that was a little bit more focused, and utilizing of the other characters better this time. So I'm gonna give them some points for that and make it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I was sticking around on 7 for the last few weeks. And yeah, I agree with some of the members of the board. Sakarda Freeforms with that. Join us. Please do. It took a turn for the worst. And I'm going to give this episode a 5 out of 10. And I was thinking about giving it a 6, but no, I think I shouldn't show that I am not too impressed by this show, and giving it a pass, that would be too nice. Yeah. So 5 out of 10 for me this week's episode. And I think that's fair.
Okay.
That will conclude our review for episode 5 of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Mean, green, and straight poured into these jeans. Before we finish, I would like to ask you all to hit that subscribe button, notification bell on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page, join the forum on Sakar. That way you will never miss us, and we won't have to miss you. Bye.